You're watching Unrendered, and my guest is Alston Becket Cyrus. Becket, yes, let's talk about this collaboration with Frankie, because I think this is the genesis now of something that's mushroomed into something really big.
I think it was a godsend, meant to be, a match from heaven, Frankie and I.
Would you describe Frankie McIntosh, and for benefit of the viewers that who are young and perhaps don't know enough of the legend Frankie, would you say Frankie transformed not just the calypso art form, in terms of modern music, and we're going to get on to that soca thing that we were talking off camera, but the carnival product itself for St. Vincent?
Oh, definitely. If you say, anytime you say Vincy Mars, you have to say Frankie McIntosh. Because while I was there with him, doing my thing, he was pulling all the Scorcher, the Winston Soso, the Ziggy, you name them, Ron Pompey, the late Tommy T. And you go on, you can go on and on and on and on. He was the man behind all the big Vincy songs back then.
You're a creative genius, really.
Definitely.
About your career, now you have, since that collaboration with Frankie, you managed one movie soundtrack, you managed at least 4 features on network television in the US, music that is shown in programs.
That's right.
You've copped 8 road march titles here locally, and as you say, you're still blossoming.
My best is yet to come.
Your best is yet to come. You're still blossoming.
I think so, yeah.
Tell me about some of your early music. Let's start with the movie soundtrack. Was it Calypso Disco?
That's
or
right.
Disco Calypso, I can't remember.
Disco Calypso.
Right.
Well, I met first, I got to let you know how I met Frankie.
Yes, go ahead.
So, Scrub said, you got to go to Franklin. He would write it over with you in pen. So I show up at 1287 St. Mark's Avenue.
Yes.
Well, I think the address was different then, but that's where he lives now, just two doors down. But so I got there. This time I'm planning to go and record it at the Koto. And he held up the music, and the man whistled Mass at Victoria. I never saw it before. I said, this guy's a genius. So I said, I have to do something with this guy. But then I was so bent on doing my first album in Trinidad, because I really grew up on the Trinidad Calypso too.
Yes.
So I went, I did that album. Then I'll meet Frankie a second time before I go back, decide to go with my albums. There's a guy named Errol Doppwell, that one of the top designers of Calypso jackets, maybe of all times. He designed Calypso jackets just like Frankie was doing the music, Errol was doing the designing. Vincy also spent some time in Trinidad, but born and grew up here, went to Trinidad and ended up in New York. Anyway, Errol also plays the guitar and makes songs. So he have a song called Tell Me, which is, I recorded it just, maybe about 5-6 years ago, and in a title track. But he tell me he have this song and he want me to sing it. So I must go by Frankie, and Frankie know the song and stuff. So I got by Frankie, and I did the song, and I say, Frankie, I find this song really tailor-made for Errol. This is Errol's song. And he agreed with me. So I said, well, I have like 2 songs. I sang Coming High and Marianne for him.
Yes.
And right there, he fell in love with the 2 songs. He said, both of them good. And then when we time to go in the studio, he said, let's do one for us, because they're 2 good songs. We never would touch Marianne because those days had so many songs.
Right. So you
we
didn't
would touch Marianne like maybe 5-6 years after. We have forgotten about Marianne.
Right.
So I was going to do a 2-sided single. He said, just go with the one. I guess he knew all along that he was going to start this long introduction before I start to sing. Never happened in Calypso before. So all the people taking credit, saying they changed Calypso, and we changed the music, we didn't change the word. Frankie McIntosh, before Coming High, there was no song where the band chorus would play for almost a minute before the singer started to sing.
Right.
Then after that came Sugar Boom Boom. I'll tell people, if there was no Coming High, there will never be a Sugar Boom Boom.
Right.
And that is the change of the music right there. There was nothing before, no bass line, doom, be-doom, be-doom. They never had a calypso with a bass line.
I suppose you're saying that between yourself and Frankie McIntosh, you guys really created what the world
revolutionized the music.
What the world knows as soca.
We didn't change the word.
But you didn't change the word.
We never
but
was.
You changed what soca was.
That's right. The bass, the music, the music being involved. If there was no Frankie McIntosh, there'd be no Less Than Paul. You trust me on that. They all followed. They had the talent, but it is one thing when you're blessed with a talent, and it's another thing with innovation. And he's blessed with innovation, Frankie.
So let's talk about that soundtrack.
Well,
the movie soundtrack.
Frankie McIntosh, the same coming high. I follow music. I heard short song, Tourist Lego, and I felt it was one of the best mixed calypsos of all times, the engineering, the technical part. So I tracked down the guy who mixed that song. Good, but it was one of the best mistakes in my life. And this guy turned out, I got him to mix my Coming High. So when he heard Coming High, he said this song is too rich for the Caribbean. This is an international song.
Right.
So he went shopping, and he found another guy named Larry Maxwell, who is an American, was at the time managing, had some ties with, oh my goodness, I'm so bad with name, but one of my reggae singer, one of the top reggae singers.
I can't help you, Becket.
Yeah, one of the great reggae voices, but he passed away. Not Peter Tosh, one of the other guys. Anyway.
It's not Bob Marley for sure, because you remember that.
Yeah, he was one in the day, in the 70s, he was, compared to Marley. And it's so sad that I forgot his name. I'm seeing his face now, but I'm back.
He'll probably come back, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, Larry Maxwell had his contacts with these guys, was managing that guy. So they formed a company in my head. And they shop with Casablanca Records, and Casablanca at the same time was getting ready to put out the Deep movie.
Yes.
And they felt this song was the right song to launch Becket and Coming High, and something new they hearing in calypso. They never heard this kind of calypso before. So, but when they're ready to hook up the song to the movie, Coming High was too slow. By that time, they'll already financed an album. They decide, well, hey, they like what they hear in Coming High, and they're going to produce an album by Becket. They're going to finance an album. But by the time we finished, we started in November, trying to get this thing out for December for Trinidad, in time to get it out for Trinidad Carnival. But all these things started to happen, so we have to wait. We can't put out Coming High, we have to wait. By the time they get ready to hook up the soundtrack, that song was too slow, but we had finished Calypso Disco at the time, which was a faster song, and they decided to go.
So they adopted that one.
Use that as
and that one went on.
And they decided to change it to Disco Calypso and call the album Disco Calypso and stuff.
Right. What happened to you in Casablanca?
Well, I tell you the thing, Buddy Scott was good and he was bad. They took all the money. They got like $30,000 advance. And I read the contract and decided I wasn't going to sign. But I heard they claim that if you get advance, they take it back from you. But at the time, I was so much in love with Carnival that I couldn't let a Vincy Mass pass and don't have my album out. So I just decided, sign it, go along with it, and I just broke after that with them.
So you broke the the contract, but you broke the relationship, basically.
And the thing is, you get advance. The thing when you get an advance from a record label, they take it out of your royalties. So I felt the album was going to go real big. We got the vibes out of the Caribbean. It was big in Trinidad. They did over 12,000 copies there. And then I would get my money because they recoup the advance. So I didn't get any advance, so they had nothing to recoup. But the thing is, I never got anything after that. But I want to get my stuff out for Carnival.
And we're going to talk about some of your songs. The prolific nature in which you churned out music. When you look at it now, in retrospect, do you think that you came too fast with too many things?
No.
Because you mentioned something early on about Frankie saying to you, let's hold this one back. And it's almost like a strategy. You got two good songs, hold one back. Were you pushing out too much good music? I'm talking from a self-sustaining standpoint.
Sometimes you look at it as I have ego, but compare to Kitchener and Sparrow and those guys. They were putting out 10 songs a year.
So that was the order of the day then?
Right. They were putting out 10, but I was writing 10, but Frankie now with the long introduction and the long music in there, we had to cut it. The album could only, if you want good quality, we could only put on 6 songs on an album. Right. Because the songs are Calypso are 3 minutes. If you look at Rock Calypso, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, the Rock Calypso songs. So you had to put on 10 to fill up an album. But Coming High, all these songs, they're 6, 7, 8 minutes sometimes. So we could only hold 3 on a side. If you get more than that, then the quality of the product, you know, drops.
Drops, right.
You get low, you know, you don't.
So we're talking about the
sound.
technology at the time, really,
That's
because
right.
these things were being encoded in wax.
Even now the
yes.
technology doesn't change, you know.
Right.
Even if you put out a CD, if you go too long, then
Yes.
your
Yeah, the
levels, you
quality.
lose your levels.
Right.
So, but then, I'd say I had some ego then, but not compared to other people, you know. I'm good at controlling ego. If I miss a carnival, like now, you know, I've been there, done that. I never really say like lose sleep. Like, I guess I learned it from the Casablanca, because if I wasn't trying to get my album out for Vincy Mas, then I would have held out. I wouldn't have signed the contract because I read it.
Let's look at the modern day soca artists, or even calypsonian, but let's focus more on soca. They generally come out with 2 or 3, you know, songs in a given year. Do you think that they're less taxed today than, you know, in terms of creativity than and pushing out music than you were in your era? Do you wish you existed now where you had to do far less? Would you have been
not really? No, I like the chat. I wish I was. When I look back, I wish I was doing 10 songs a year, because by now I'll have more. I only have like 140 something composition. If I was doing like 10, I would be close to 200. So I sort of, to answer your question, I wish I was being challenged to do the 10.
Right. So,
but now you have 2 factors here. Now the guys now only do 2-3 songs, because if you do 10, they only pick 2 and play them, because there's so many guys. You have like 200 calypsonians. Back in my time, it was like 2 dozen, you know.
Right. So you had to cover the quantity to keep the
right.
keep substance in the whole carnival.
They put on
really.
705, put on an album, they play without stopping, you know. But
right.
now you have to jump to Bowman, you have to go back here to Scorpion, you got to get Fireman, you got to get, you know.
Let me ask you a frank question, because you know, the people who are musical purists, and they may have a word or two to say about what obtains today in terms of the art form, and I'm talking Caribbean-wise. I listen to Trinidadians who are like in my age group, you know, that's a 50 age group, and they themselves would say Marshall is no big thing to them. I see Marshall as being really huge, right? But what they're talking about is the pure form of music. Now, is it something that you accept, that maybe music was more an important factor, the composition of music was more important factor then than it is now?
I say it's frightening. And at the same time, there's some good in there with along with the stuff that a lot of people reject, protest against. I was in Trinidad on TV where they call and just pull along Marshall, and I felt, you know, if guys gonna pay $50 and then at the end of the night you have 15,000 people showing up to see these guys, they have to be doing something right.
Right.
And what it
That's
is
my
now,
argument exactly.
yeah, but I still can't figure it out, because I try to listen to some of that stuff, and I just can't.
So it's a different dynamic.
Not to do in Marshall. Some of the things in Marshall did that I could relate to. I could relate to Skinny. I could relate to Problem Child.
Yes.
I can relate to I would say 20. I love 20.
On Fireman.
Guys who doing different things.
Right.
And Bomani, Scorpion.
Right.
So I tend to, when you ask a question like that, I tend to dwell on the negative, and I forget people like Edwin Yearwood, you know, and Marshall. You have some guys in there that doing some good stuff.
Right. You know, we have to pull this second section to a close. So when we come back, we'll pick it up.
Okay.
You're looking at Unrendered, and my guest is Alston, Becket, Cyrus.